of this shutdown, of course, the Senate in a rare overnight session unanimously moving to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, so that doesn't include funding for ICE enforcement and parts of Customs and Border Protection. This, of course, after a standoff of more than 40 days. Republicans are expected to try to push that funding through for ICE at a later date. The bill itself now making its way to the House, where the race is on to pass something before Congress leaves for its 2-week recess. That's set to happen today. President Trump on Thursday had said he would order DHS to pay TSA officers. It's still not clear, though, when that might happen. All of this, though, if it could be resolved, of course, could potentially shorten those massive lines we've been following at some airports around the country. At Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport, the wait times there, more than 4 hours before 5 a.m. local time this morning. We've got our team covering this from the airports to the nation's capital this morning. I want to begin there on Capitol Hill with CNN's Annie Grayer. So in terms of this bill now, the big question is what and when does something happen in the House? And it could be an uphill battle, Annie.
It absolutely could be an uphill battle. We are waiting to see if House Republican leadership will schedule a vote on this Senate DHS deal today. We know that House Republican leaders and House Democratic leaders are having lots of conversations and meetings behind the scenes trying to gauge where their members are at, because House Speaker Mike Johnson has a tough sell to his members to make. He has to convince conservatives to support this deal, which, as you mentioned, doesn't include any funding for ICE. And conservatives had wanted any funding for the Department of Homeland Security to also attach Trump's voter ID bill attached to it. Now, that is not something that ended up happening in the Senate. So will Johnson be able to convince his Republicans to get on board, or is he going to have to rely on House Democrats? Now, I talked to one moderate House Democrat this morning who was giving positive signs that this is a deal that they think that many members could get behind, but it is a larger question of will Democrats support this, because Democrats and Republicans have been going back and forth for 41 days on these negotiations. And I think both sides are asking, what did they get out of this? Democrats did not get any meaningful reforms to ICE, which they've been pushing for. Republicans didn't get more money for ICE, which they had been pushing for. But Republicans have money that they'd already provided to ICE in a Republican-only bill, and they want to pursue another Republican-only bill where they could add more money to ICE. So Senate Majority Leader John Thune argues that the Democrats actually lost their ability to negotiate here because Republicans can move forward with more funding for ICE without them. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, though, is proud of how his Senate Democrats stuck together in this process. As we've seen in other funding battles, some moderate Senate Democrats have broken off from the rest of the party. That did not happen this time, but all eyes are going to be on the House. This was a deal that the Senate ultimately passed that many Democrats had been pushing for days. So it would seem like Democrats would be quick to get on board. The question is going to be, will Republicans join in? And that is going to be the question that we're following today. Of course, as you mentioned, President Trump having also his emergency powers funding for TSA agents. The big question is, when will TSA agents get paid? When will those airport lines get shorter? That is what the question is today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are seeing, I'm just looking over my shoulder, we're seeing some live pictures from the House floor as we continue to monitor that. Annie, I know you'll keep us up to speed. We also want to check in on the airports. Pete Muntean is at Baltimore Washington International Airport. So, Pete, how are things looking there this morning?
That pledge by President Trump to sign an executive order to pay TSA agents and that Senate bill, really too little too late for probably the thousands of people who are in line here at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport. In fact, this line is so big, you can't really believe it. You can't even photograph it. This is the Security C checkpoint here at BWI. This is only the start. People who get to this point in line have been waiting about 2 hours. But look over here. This is the line continued. This line actually goes down the frontage of the terminal here, under this observation area, into the food court, loops around, comes back out here. The beginning of the line is out here. It goes from inside to outside. This is the line outside at the airport. We can't even walk the line, the entirety of it, because it's so long. Spoke to a federal agent here who's down from his office in the airport, volunteering to help keep things moving here. He tells me the line right now here at BWI between 3 hours and 10 minutes to 3 hours and 40 minutes. Totally incredible. the airport says today is their busiest day year to date in terms of passenger volume. Jonathan Dean here at BWI tells me 31,000 passengers expected. Yesterday, it was 30,000 passengers expected. And the airport's telling folks to get here at least 3 hours early to get through the checkpoint. Just look at this one more time. I mean, you really, I have to see this to believe it. It is huge. And the other thing that's happening here, you have to consider the fact that Anne Arundel County Public Schools, we're in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, spring break officially begins on Monday. So a lot of people are trying to leave town. Spoke with Southwest Airlines. This airport is the busiest in the region when it comes to flights. Southwest Airlines makes up about 70% of the market share. Airline says they're trying to do their best to get people rebooked on different flights if they can't make it through this line and to their gate. Some of the checkpoints here are closed. A is closed. B is partially open. C, the one that we're looking for the line for, that's the one that's the most open. That's the one that has the longest line. If you were coming to BWI, where there's about 30% call-out rates here for TSA agents, get here so early.
Wow, you point out the spring break. A lot of families we saw in line there behind you. We also saw some people smiling. So doing their best to remain positive, maybe making some friends with everybody else there in line for them for the wait of 310 to 340. Pete, appreciate it. Thank you. Ryan Young is at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta. The folks that I know you've been talking to, Ryan, for a long time, they're coming up to you because they're so used to seeing you at the airport. They want this resolved. They are tired of the infighting.
Yeah, well, guess what? The airport has sprinkled a little bit of that ATL magic all over this, and at the point, we've seen the rush hour sort of drop off in the last half hour or so. But before we start walking, I want to show you something. If you look right here, you can see some of those ICE agents who've taken up seats here who are now checking in IDs. There are more of them today checking IDs than were checking IDs yesterday. We're seeing the lines get a lot shorter here. That initial rush hour was going. Talk about people yelling things in our direction. We just had a guy say, hey, I'm so glad that Delta stopped the special privileges for Congress. They really want to see them sort of pay the price for all this and people standing in lines. But this is the main checkpoint. So if you look right here, you can see the drop off this morning, that TSA pre-check line outside the building again. That still remains very long. But the main checkpoint and the north checkpoint, we're seeing a lot shorter lines. But take a listen to travelers this morning who were fired up. So how long have you been waiting in line this morning?
We got here at 6:30.
Okay.
Flight is at 11:30. I think we'll be there. Okay.
What do you think about the idea that you got here like 4 hours before your flight? Did you ever think you'd see this?
Never. And I've flown a lot. I'm on passport number 5.
You ever think the line was going to be this long when you got here?
Oh, yeah, I'd already checked Instagram. I already knew how long the lines were. Normally, I get to the airport 20 minutes before my flight. This time, 3 hours.
If you had a chance to talk to Congress and tell them, what would you say?
Let's just get everything together. Let's work together. Honestly, let's work together.
Yeah, you really felt the pain from people. Again, as people have been walking by, they've been voicing their frustration. They can't believe they have to arrive to the airport so early. We've been telling people also, if you arrive 4 hours before your flight, you can't check your bag in. That's something you should know. Also, if you arrive to the airport, make sure you check all the lanes, no matter what airport you're at, because some of the lines are shorter throughout the day. Security still remains high here. But Sarah and Erica, there was something that happened last week that a lot of people have been bringing up to us. I want to play this soundbite from a woman that a lot of people believe that she really summed up what she wanted to see, not only at this airport, but across the country. Take a listen.
I've been in this wheelchair. They gonna tell me to go stand up in line. I have MS. How you gonna expect me to stand up and push my own self in a wheelchair? Atlanta gotta do better. I had to pay a stranger $100 to push me and get me through the TSA line. Do better. Trump, fix it.
Yeah, that Trump fix it really went very far. People have been talking about that nonstop. As we flip around here, this is part of what we saw. We saw these agents arriving here, doing their patrols, walking into. A lot of the folks here are veteran ICE agents. And then also you have Atlanta PD here as well. So this still remains a good situation because the security lines have dropped. Of course, we'll continue to watch it. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. Appreciate it. By the way, Ryan, that woman also struck a chord with my mother, who mentioned it to me, specifically that woman that you had spoken to. So she is certainly getting a lot of attention. She is being heard.
Absolutely.